Hi, and welcome to the session on integrating outreach to your business. In today's session, we'll be focusing on the following question. How can urban agriculture businesses integrating outreach to broaden their impact? My name is Noora Mayangisat, and I like to call myself a food activist and communications enthusiast. I have a background in international relations and more recently in sustainable development with a master's degree in development environment from the University of Oslo, where my research focused on food systems transition and direct trade in urban contexts to facilitate such a transition. I'm currently the deputy leader of a youth organization, Spire, whose aim is a sustainable and fair world. We have three main topics that we work with: a sustainable economy, the fair division of power, and a fair and sustainable food system. Within this, I work on urban development, among some, wherein parts of our attention has been towards urban agriculture and its role in promoting food security. The goal of today's session is to learn how we can successfully integrate outreach into our urban agriculture business, with the aim of broadening our impact. To achieve this, we will go through 5 steps. First, what is outreach and why is it necessary? Second, and third, which channels for outreach exist and how do we identify them for maximizing our impact? Then, I will look at RECO as an example of a channel. And finally, we will look at outreach for impact, what works, and how you can integrate that into your business. So, what is outreach? First, if we exist, they will come, right? Well, as some of you might be aware of already, this is unfortunately not true. In order to carry out your program, successfully delivering your service or increasing the sales of your product, what you offer must reach your audience. You need to carry it to them in sort of way. This is where outreach comes in. Outreach is typically used to describe a wide range of activities, from offering new information to ensuring safer childcare to a one-time event to raise awareness about an issue. Simply put, outreach are the ways in which your business reaches its customers. When we talk about integrating outreach into your business, we are really talking about planning and implementing a strategy for accessing your target audience or your customers to deliver your value proposition, wherein you identify which channels are appropriate to maximize your reach. So, why outreach? Well, as mentioned, it is not enough for a product or service to merely exist. If consumers are to use what you are offering, they need to be familiar with your existence, who you are, what you offer, and why they should choose you. Moreover, successful outreach may allow you to create contacts and network with like-minded businesses and individuals to create momentum for your business to grow or to try something new. There are multiple ways in which a business can practice outreach, and it is typically done through channels. Channels are existing structures that facilitate contact and communication between actors, whether one-way or two-way, or they're structures that you can create. Channels are touch points through which a business liaises with the customers, and thus play a huge role in defining the customer experience. Channels can be categorized as either marketing, sales, or distribution. Examples for channels for outreach are the local media, Facebook, the farmers market, or just the community in general. The primary function of such channels are to raise awareness, to market your product, to facilitate purchasing, to have distribution or delivery of your service or product, and to maintain customer service afterwards. A channel may perform one or several of these functions. Broadening and diversifying outreach across channels may therefore mean 2 things. That either that channel fulfills all 5 of these functions, or that the channel you choose fulfills only one of those challenges, such as mentioned before, whether they're sales, marketing, or distribution. Some of the purposes of a typical channel are to be a medium through which your business can educate its chosen customers about your products and services or related topics. It can be providing the customers with an opportunity to study and evaluate your value proposition. It can be offering a facility to buy that proper product or service. It can merely be offering your customer the value proposition, or it can be to maintain customer services afterwards, or so-called after-sales services. So how do you decide on a channel? Well, there are different ways of thinking about channels. You have either more traditional channels for outreach, such as social media engagement or having your product in the store, or there are more alternative channels, such as Reko, Dagens, or the multitude of different apps we have today. When deciding on a channel, it's advisable to list separate channels for different customer segments of your organization, if you are targeting more than one. There are three main types of outreach. It's either event outreach, it is personal outreach, which contains mean things like network meetings or attending trade fairs, or it's consistent outreach, which is social media engagement, email marketing, etc. So how do you select a channel for distribution? Well, there are 5 elements you should consider. First, the size of the audience that you're targeting and the function of that channel in accessing that market. Second, the investment required to use the channel. This includes both the monetary cost, but also the resources spent in your organization or business. 3, whether your product or service is standard and therefore can be sold through an external channel, or if it is specialized and therefore require direct contact. 4, the control you have over the channel. Is it highly competitive? Can you tailor the information and communication about what you are offering? And 5, the flexibility of the channel to your needs, and whether it allows you to maintain a healthy relationship. Now, let's look at an example from my research. Reko is an alternative food network for direct trade between consumers and producers. No intermediaries are involved in the process of distributing the product from producer to consumer, and 100% of the profit goes directly to the producer. The network is free to participate in and uses Facebook as a platform for exchange. As a channel, Reko fulfills nearly every function. It's a channel for distribution, it's a channel for marketing if you use it correctly, and it's a channel for delivering the value proposition, and to some extent it's a channel for maintaining customer service, depending on how you choose to use it again. So, what do we know about Reko then as a channel for distribution following the 5 functions that I mentioned earlier? Well, number 1, Reko allows producers to access the customers where they are in the local community. It is a large market, so you might have the benefit of other products originally attracting them and then also choosing your product, for instance. But again, it's also influenced by Facebook algorithms and a lot of things happening at the same time. Second, it is free to use, both as a distribution channel and as a marketing channel. However, you must attend to distribution yourself, regardless of how many products you sold. So if you are a baker and you only sold 1 bread, you still need to take that 1 hour to be there and the preparation time it takes to get there and leave in the end after the event. Number 3, it is a direct trade network. Number 4, you have little control over the channel. You have control over what you put out there, but how it is perceived, how people engage with it, you don't have any control over. In addition, it's a fixed time for distribution, and again, it's at the mercy of Facebook algorithms. And finally, you decide yourself which deliveries you want to attend, and thus that way it is flexible. It also allows you to build a relationship with your customers and receive valuable feedback. So, what works? There's a starved market for primary agricultural products in an urban setting such as Oslo. However, the majority of those here today doesn't necessarily offer products. So how can we transfer the learnings of Reko and integrate that to our business? Well, first we should revisit the motivations of the consumers. As evident for the majority of the stated motivations, values and beliefs about the world and what the world should look like underpin their decision to purchase through the network. The producers in Reko does not only sell a particular product, they sell an experience being part of something. They sell value. They sell something that allows the customer to perform their beliefs. So, as for your own business, how you contribute to these things, or how you allow the customer to include themselves in the process, so to speak, or to perform the values, should be integrated into your value proposition. What are the universal values from which your business operates? What are the vital social impacts that you want to contribute to? The majority of those who participate and engage with urban agriculture businesses do so out of their own interests. They already have the resources and capacity to engage. They do so out of an inner motivation, not merely because the product or service you offer is good. Thus, your business should identify this and use it when engaging in outreach. Furthermore, we saw that trust was an important element amongst consumers in Reco. Generally, Norwegians have higher levels of trust in their communities or businesses, in the government, and in the food produced. However, identifying oneself with these elements of authenticity, what is Norwegian, the principles of sustainability and ethical production and consumption, and being transparent about this was essential. Consumers in Reco value honesty, and honesty can be achieved through telling a story. Thus, your product or service should not only communicate your values and social impact, but also tell a story. How was the product made? How do you work with the community, etc.? What is your aim? How do you form relationships? Creating an entire package around your product or service in your outreach works. So, should you remain broad, or should you be broad or remain narrow in your outreach? Well, now what we have identified what works, how can urban agriculture businesses diversify the channels in order to broaden their network impact? The benefits of a broad outreach is that although you have to spend more time on administrative work, every hour spent may result in a better output. You may receive more as in monetary value, for instance. It allows you to access a larger audience with your product or service, resulting in a broader reach for your value proposition. And finally, it allows you to test new channels and find new audiences and try new things for your business. Maybe it results in a different way of developing your business. Remaining narrow, however, may allow you to spend less time on doing sort of the administrative work of outreach, and therefore more time on what matters to you and your business. It allows you to target a niche audience with all of your resources and build a strong relationship that may result in loyal and returning customers. Finally, it allows you to spend time on building your identity and brand. However, you need to find that sweet spot between being too broad and too narrow. The aim of outreach is, for instance, to have enough time to develop your business while being viable and offering a steady income stream. You need to access enough customers to have that stable business, but still maintain your identity and the relationship you form with the customers in the process. And you need to have time for customer service and after-sales care. And finally, you still need time to innovate and develop, but yet maintain your brand identity in the process. So, to return back to the questions asked at the start, how can urban agriculture businesses integrate outreach to broaden impact? First, you should identify the existing channels for outreach that you currently are using and that you could potentially use. Figure out what works for you and what doesn't work. Then, you need to decide on your channels for outreach for your business. This will be a trial and error process, but you need to keep in mind that it must be manageable. Don't bite over too much. You need to integrate your impact and your universal values to the overall value proposition if you haven't already done that. You need to tell that story and sell the whole package that you are offering to adhere to or to communicate with those customers who are already interested in what you're doing. You just need to catch their attention and give them something of value. You need to focus on outreach that allows you to reach your goal. And finally, you need to build a strategy for integrating this outreach into your business development and day-to-day work. And that is what we will be doing now. Thank you so much. Now, let's start building a strategy for outreach.